pattern have shifted. Normally, we're looking for our rainfall to be coming from our northeast. During the earlier this year, we realized that it was coming from the northwest, so we realized too that there was flooding events in Montego Bay while Portland farmers were struggling to get access to water because their reliable supply in terms of rainfall was quite diminished. So we want to take that into consideration today. We want to remember why we're here, and we want to look at the various technologies and how we can be involved in food security through agriculture, and how we can actually match that now with climate change to ensure that we are actually prepared for the future. And so welcome everyone, and I'm wishing for you to have a wonderful day, and you'll learn everything that there is in terms of what geospatial technology can do for food security and climate resilience. We'll now move on, and Professor Dale Weber will bring greetings to us. You're welcome.
Mr. Yannick Watson, Moderator and Principal Director, National Spatial Data Management Division, Minister of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Mr. Delphine Morgan, our guest speaker and lecturer at the College of Agriculture, Science and Education, teachers, students, members of the UWI family, members of the GIS family, all around the Assembly Hall, members of the media, well-wishers, good morning to you all. Good morning. Good morning. It is my privilege and pleasure as principal of the University of the West Indies to welcome you to the University of the West Indies, your place to shine. It is your university, and if it isn't yet, it soon will be, because we are the #1 university in the Caribbean. We are in the top 3% of universities in Latin America and the Caribbean, where there are about 3,000 universities. And what that gets me is we are in the top 4% of universities in the world, where we've ranked within 27,000 universities, we're in the top 4%. So if you ever think about where you want to be, you're already there. I wish to thank the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, the National Spatial Data Management Division, for the partnership that they continue to offer so that we can share in GIS Day. It is a special day for us, and your work is important in raising awareness about environment and agriculture this year, which is important for us as a country. We continue this partnership, and we pledge to continue this partnership into the future because we see great benefits, not just from what happens in ecosystems, but especially what happens with the human resource, youth. Condolences to Minister Vaz, who lost his father, and because of that, I guess that he may not be here today. And we will send our best blessings to him. To our guest speaker, Mr. Morgan, thank you very much for being here. I would like you to take back our best wishes to Dr. Deslandes, who is a close friend as well as an alumni of the UWI, and one we know who is working hard to take CASE to the next stage, and we're there as partners to work with you. So the UWI operates on 3 pillars: access, alignment, and agility. And what are we doing here today? We want to give you greater access, not just to the UWI, but to the knowledge about GIS and how you can use it. By your participation today, you're helping us achieve our goals, and as a university, we're pleased to work with all schools, those who are here, those who are still coming in, and those who are yet to come, so that you can see more and learn more about what the possibilities are. But alignment is important, because you could do a lot of work and it is of no value to your region or your country. We need to align the research at the UWI as well as the teaching to what the country and the region requires. And it's by partnering with CASE, with UTech, with Northern Caribbean University, with the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, that we know what questions need to be answered, and then put our research mind to answer those questions. And we would like to share that with you as the day goes on. climate resilience. And why is climate important? Because many things change as we change our climates. Mr. Watson just spoke to the changes that happen in rainfall. This is something that we've been working at the UWI and the MonaMedia Informatics Center, which is here represented, and I'm sure Dr. Paris Louis will pass through today and give us his blessings. MonaMedia Informatics have been working on where is water going to come from next? Where is rainfall going to be? What's important? We've recently been asked by the United Nations to take on SG13 in terms of its strategic development goals, which is climate change. Why? Because the research at the UWI has allowed us to say a lot more about what is happening with climate and what is likely to happen next. Example, we've been able to look at spatial distribution of vegetation naturally as well as crop vegetation, what we planned out, to determine where should we plant next based on where we have changes in climate. We actually have one professor who is working on where should you plant potatoes, because that which you used to plant in St. Mary will no longer be possible in terms of growth. Soil, rainfall, not just the rainfall amount, but the periodicity of that rainfall. That crop is best now grown in St. Elizabeth based on the predictions that we have. So we're already producing information which is driving the decision-making process, and we want to share that with you. GIS can help us secure our food security by just where we plant, what crops will grow. Did you know that the Dominican Republic moved out of a crop of oranges to pineapples on the basis of change in rainfall and soil patterns with erosion and land runoff, which could have been predicted had the GIS worked? We are trying to ensure that that doesn't happen to us, that we determine where we're going to do our next crop and what will be best for us. You are the next generation. This is your world. Things that we had to learn by rote are natural to you. Your skills in GIS are going to make you better able to take advantage of all this world has to offer. For instance, we now have a supercomputer at the UWI, which allows us to change pixelation size. At first, we could only tell a pixel, which was all of Caribbean, was one big pixel in the climate change derivatives. Now we can pixelate all the way down to a small community. So you no longer can predict just all of the Caribbean changing, but now you can say community by community will change. So now we can say what's different in Manchester from Clarendon. We couldn't do that before. Also, we can do things a lot faster. This supercomputer can now run models. Models that used to take us 6 months can now be done in 6 minutes, which means you can do a lot more. That means you can try things and fail. No, failure is not an option. You try, you succeed, and if you don't succeed, you learn how to try again. And that's what it allows you to do in more real time. So I invite you, as you tour the University of the West Indies, if you've done so before, reacquaint yourself. If you haven't done so before, do it for the first time. Open your doors, open your eyes, see what opportunities are here for you, because we want you to be our next year UWI students, making a difference in what we do at UWI. This is your place to shine. I look forward to a wonderful day with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Weber. And you notice what he's saying is not, I want to expand it beyond just the University of the West Indies. Access, alignment, agility. And in looking across government, in looking across society, that's the first thing that we're supposed to look for. Young adults, you have to look at where you can find that access. Align yourselves appropriately. And that is actually, understanding what you want to do. Making sure that what you want to do is a part of where society is going in terms of the trend, and continue to be agile. You have to be different. You cannot do things as everybody else, or else it won't be special. I would like to again welcome those who came in late to GIS Day 2019. Our board displays will take in much more than just GIS. Professor Weber just opened up the campus to you for a tour, visit, to see, to look, and to get a feel of where you can fit in, perhaps to explore some programs. He also spoke about some newness, and he told you that the University of the West Indies is in the top 3% in Latin America, top 4% in the world. That's very good, and I believe that you should give Professor Weber and his team a round of applause because, you know, they're getting there. Professor, one time I remember when we would have to go to Trinidad to do courses, Mr. Morgan. And I realized that now I can enjoy my own country in a university which I also admire, and to get things done here and to understand what is happening in this country, looking at the case studies and the problem here to help Jamaica solve this problem, and the University of the West Indies offers that. Unfortunately this morning, the minister is not here with us today. Mr. Darrell Vaz, he is the minister in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation without portfolio, but with responsibility for land, environment, and climate change. As we know, Professor Webb also mentioned earlier, his father passed away, and it's a trying time for him, but nevertheless, he asked for me to ensure that his speech is read, and it's quite an interesting speech in terms of his view of the sector and where he wants to go with the sector. So, without further ado, I'll go. Yes. So, I have been asked to deliver the address of the Honorable Minister, Darrell Vaz. The Minister, as I said, is absent, and we just want to ensure that each and every one of you, keep your thoughts, pray for him and his family as they go through this time. Now, Geographic Information Systems, which is a part of Geographic Awareness Week activities, highlight the use of a technology that is very important to the future of our nation and our planet. Without geospatial technology, we would live in a chaotic world where we would stumble around with only our sense to guide us. Without the proper planning that GIS facilitates, we would build houses, hospitals, and schools anywhere, even in areas that are hazardous and prone to risk, like flooding and land slippage. Geospatial technology creates order by providing us with the in-depth information that we need to guide orderly development in our country and indeed our world. Today, we are celebrating the 17th anniversary of the observation of GIS here in Jamaica. This means that we have been using the technology here for more than a decade. In fact, I am proud that Jamaica is a pioneer in the use of this technology in the Caribbean, and is ranked #1 in the Caribbean and 9th in terms of usage across the Americas, that is the entire Western Hemisphere. I wish to comment and thank the Land Information Council of Jamaica and the National Spatial Data Management Branch of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation for their vision and the hard work they have put in to promote and normalize the use of geospatial technology in our daily lives, both here in Jamaica and in the Caribbean. More than 80 government entities and over 100 private sector entities currently use geospatial technology in their operations, and the numbers are growing each year. A lot of startups have been using the technology such as geofencing to get where they want to go, especially in terms of advertising and marketing. Geospatial technology, simply put, is the technology and methods used to innovate, collect, manage, and analyze information about our Earth, including geographic location of natural and man-made features. Geospatial technology can provide us with better understanding of patterns, linkages, and trends about our nation, region, and planet. That will enable us to better understand how to use our limited resources and plan for the future in an effective and efficient way. This year's theme, Geospatial Technologies Enhancing Food Security and Climate Resilience, is a very important one. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, has defined food security as ensuring that people at all times have both physical and economic access to the basic food that they need. An increase in the density of our populations as well as our agricultural limitations may affect our access to basic, fresh, and affordable food. The most recent statistics from the United Nations has put the current world population at 7.7 billion as of November 2019. Which simply means that much more of us are competing for the limited resources on the planet, including food and water. In addition to population growth, the FAO has identified 3 major threats to food security. They are how much food, well, 4. They are how much food is available locally, the effects of climate change on agriculture and resources, site suitability for optimum growth and production, and the active planning, development, and management of food production on existing lands. Here in Jamaica, unsustainable methods of farming such as slash and burn, agriculture for clearing land, excessive use of chemicals such as weedicides and pesticides, farming and hillsides and other hazard-prone areas can lead to soil depletion, land slippage, and loss of crop cover. The impact of climate change such as drought, excessive rainfall, flooding, and wind damage from hurricanes add to the risk to our food supply. Geospatial technology can help to track changes temporally in climate, monitor rainfall pattern and distribution, examine soil fertility and suitability, and highlight the threats to food sources as well as the potential food shortages in a given area due to drought, floods, and other natural disasters. It can show how natural and man-made factors can affect productivity. For example, the relationship between the types of soil, water, topography, and nutrients, enabling farmers to utilize best practices in growing food as well as making the best decisions to ensure optimal crop growth. Geospatial technology can also be utilized in the distribution of produce from the field to market by helping to plan the best distribution routes and finding the most suitable markets based on the demand for produce. The key to any kind of future for ourselves and our planet will require that we understand and make informed decisions about where we are headed and where geospatial technology will provide the necessary tools to make these decisions. Let me give you an example. Just last month, the Honorable Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Bonus, launched the National Tree Planting Program, in which Jamaica is targeting the planting of 3 million timber and ornamental trees over the next 3 years. The initiative, which is being managed by the Forestry Department, will see the foresting of over 3,000 hectares of land with 2 million timber seedlings, while the remaining 1 million timber and ornamental seedlings will be distributed to the public for planting. The initiative forms part of a strategic response of the government to climate change, as trees remove harmful carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases from the atmosphere and release life-giving oxygen, which lessens the impact of climate change. What will we use to track the planting and maintenance of seedlings, as well as find the most suitable locations for the specific tree types? Of course, geospatial technology. Geospatial technology enables us all to better understand and address the major issues challenging that our modern world now faces, including some of those mentioned: climate change, food and water security. As future decision makers, the knowledge you, our students, stand to gain from utilizing geospatial technology will enable you to assume leadership positions in an increasingly complex socio-cultural, economic, and environmental world, and subsequently make your positive mark globally or regionally. I want you to be innovators and developers of various aspects of the technology, not just users. Let Jamaica be the go-to country for the new and developing technologies in GIS. We should chart our own path, one that will create a global legacy for Jamaica. I therefore urge everyone here to learn as much as you can about this technology. I sincerely hope that when the day is done, you will leave here with a better knowledge of what geospatial technology can do for you. In closing, I want to thank again and commend the Land Information Council of Jamaica, the National Spatial Data Management Branch of the Ministry, the University of the West Indies, the Heart Trust, the high schools, and other important stakeholders for once again making GIS Day a success. Thank you. It was quite refreshing, and in just summarizing the minister's speech, he mentioned critical aspects. I know you're thinking about your various career paths. You know, some of you will know what you want to do already. Some not so sure. I mean, even when I started out at UAE here, I wasn't even sure what I wanted to do. But it clicked to me at the end of the first semester what I really wanted to do. And you know, I've been doing what I love. I'm enjoying it. I, had some conversation with some friends last night about, why are you so happy? Why nothing bother you? I believe in my dream. My dream is the environment. It's about being an advocate for people and using the technology that is available to me, one that is very important and dear, and that is geospatial technology. And we want to develop that technology in Jamaica to the extent where we continue to rank #1 in the Caribbean, but also to have a significantly higher ranking in the Western Hemisphere. 90 is very good for a small country. When we look at the Western Hemisphere itself, from the tip of the North Pole to Argentina and the South Pole, right? But we want Jamaica to continue to make strides. We have brilliant minds. He mentioned about being developers and innovators. There are students here who are thinking about in computer science, who are thinking about businesses, entrepreneurship, logistics, etc., medicine. Geospatial technology can be used in all of those if you're looking at epidemiology, if you're looking at crop diseases, if you're looking at advertising and marketing, you would want to have a good understanding of this technology because it gives you an advantage to know where you want to locate, what you want to do in a particular location. In other words, you're finding the suitability based on the criteria that you will establish for yourself in getting your career pathway to where you want it to be. So it is important for us to stay tuned today and also to move the technology forward where we're not just users anymore, but we are significant in terms of its innovation and its development, because the economics of creating various apps, various forms within the technology is actually great. So you should keep that in mind as you look around, twin to your career what you see, and ask questions. Ask someone to guide you as to how can I use this in medicine? How can I use this in teaching? How can I use this in entrepreneurship? You may not want to share your exact business idea, but you can give a synopsis without giving away too much. And, soon from now, you'll be able to get where you want to be in terms of your career path. We'll move along with the program, and it seems like I'm doing a lot today, but I don't mind. So, now we'd like to introduce the Greater Portmore Junior Center for a cultural item. Drummer Girls. we'd like to give another round of applause for our dancers. They're young, they understand culture, and we see where they're going. And you know, we wish that more and more young children would be involved the way they are in terms of music and dancing. It does shape the mind in a very different way. We'd like to continue with the introduction of our guest speaker. We call on Miss Sabria Shackelford, student at the Wolmer's Trust High School for Girls, to come and do the introduction of this.
Thank you. Delford Morgan Jr. was born in Savannah, Lamar, Westmoreland, to parents Marcia Morgan and Delford Morgan Sr. on February 26, 1984. He was highly influenced and mentored by his father, and so he grew up with the desire to be an attorney like his father. His interest in law faded as the interest in passion for geography and the environment flourished while at the illustrious Manning School from 1995 to 2002. He excelled academically and in sports, particularly in basketball and volleyball, in which he is still very active. After success in 8 CXCs and 4 GCE O-level courses, he matriculated to the University of the West Indies, Mona, as a geography major in 2002. While at UWI Mona, from 2002 to 2005, he was resident of Chancellor Hall, a proud Chancellorite, and he completed a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Geography, second-class honors. He also represented UWI in local and regional competitions as a volleyball player. He was a recipient of various sports awards for the university and an avid attendee of block and hall parties. While at UWI St. Augustine from 2005 to 2007, he studied urban planning and development in the Faculty of Engineering and completed a Master of Science with distinction in area specialization, coastal area planning and hazard risk reduction. Professional life. In 2008, he was project manager at an environmental consultancy firm, Conrad Douglas and Associates, where the primary tasks included social impact assessments, land use assessment, and mapping for environmental impact assessment of development projects. From 2009 to present, he is a lecturer at the College of Agriculture, Science and Education in the Faculty of Science, where he reviews and delivers all geography courses, revises the environmental science program, spearheaded the integration of GIS into the curriculum, served as head of department for the Department of Biological and Physical Sciences. He is currently undertaking research involving mapping and analysis of spatial distribution of the gingerizing rot disease in the Rio Grande Valley. Mr. Morgan is married to Latavia Mitchell Morgan with 2 children, Zori and Delford III. He is the former captain of the senior national men's volleyball team and the current captain and vice president of the UWI volleyball. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Delford Morgan Jr.
Thank you. Before I begin, on behalf of the Case family, I would like to extend condolences to Honorable Minister Darrell Vaz and his family in this difficult time. Mr. Yannick Watson, moderator and principal director at the Spatial Data Management Division in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Professor Lee Weber, Principal, University of West Indies, Mona. Invited guests, media, public and private sector presenters, GIS family, UA family, students, teachers. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a bit nostalgic being here on the podium because I can still remember being one of the students sitting here. As a geography major here, it was always an interest of mine to be a part of GIS, to be a part of what I know GIS can do. As a member of the CASE family, my presentation on geospatial technologies in food security is going to be skewed towards what we perceive to be the role that geospatial technologies will play, and that is in the form of precision agriculture. So the problem that we face is that we have population growth, we have climate change happening, and that presents a challenge in terms of our ability to feed ourselves. Food security, as we've all heard the definition before, speaks to the capacity or availability of households to feed themselves with nutritious and affordable food. As mentioned earlier, population growth is experiencing rapid rates of increase globally. United Nations FAO has predicted that the population will reach 9 billion by 2050. And this raises concerns related to whether or not there will be enough food for us to feed ourselves. Questions around whether or not this 2.5 billion more people that we have to feed is possible, given the fact that there's currently close to 1 million people who are already suffering from food insecurity. There's also the threat of a decline in the number of persons involved or employed in agriculture. Globally, we are experiencing a decline from 44% in 1990 to 28% in 2019. There is a perception that agriculture is a dirty job, or it's a lower level job. But the reality is, with technology, with advancements in today's society, agriculture is probably one of the most important and most lucrative opportunities that exist today. So my job today will be to entrust upon you and to deliver to you how it is possible for you to incorporate geospatial technologies in agriculture. Climate change, as mentioned previously by Mr. Watson, as well as Professor Weber, we are already experiencing these changes. Temperature and rainfall, and these affect significant inputs in production, whether it be our soil, whether it be the amount of sunlight required, or the land capability with respect to the best places to plant the crops for maximum output. And this is a problem that GIS, geospatial technologies, can solve. It's not all doom and gloom. As much as we face a problem of food insecurity worldwide, as a human civilization, over the years, we have innovated and found ways of escaping this threat. From the ox-drawn plow and the wheeled cart during the Neolithic Revolution, to developing greater yield in the Green Revolution, or the steam engine in the Industrial Revolution, we've always found a way out. We've always found a way to improve how much we get out of our soil in order to feed ourselves. The geospatial revolution should be no different. And that's where we are in this turn of the century. It's now about how you, as a young person, can involve yourself and be a part of this revolution. Geospatial revolution, in terms of precision agriculture, is possible based on the application of specific components of GIS, including GPS and GNSS, which gives us the precision that we need in terms of the exact location of problems in the agricultural sector, or the exact location of our problems in the field that we produce. Remote sensing. As mentioned earlier, there are various environmental inputs required. Remote sensing provides a tool for us to actually collect data on the nature of these inputs, so we can assess variations and changes in order to predict and make recommendations for policymakers. Just as the professor pointed out, how we are making steadfast improvements in predicting where is the best place to plant potato based on changes in these environmental parameters. Autonomous drones. The use of drones is not just for pictures. The use of drones is not limited to entertainment. The use of drones is something that we can apply to agriculture to improve productivity by virtue of collecting data of our farms. Similarly, we've advanced to the point where there are autonomous tractors. So we've advanced beyond an ox-drawn plow to a tractor that actually drives itself, driven by GPS. Now, the NDVI speaks to a method of collecting data on vegetation. It picks up variations in parameters associated with the vegetation, so you can actually apply improvements where it's necessary. It can detect diseases. It can detect variations in drainage capacity in the soil. It can detect variations in nutrient content. And this is how you can actually pinpoint exact locations for the application of fertilizer or the application of water in your irrigation system. It's actually a useful tool in determining the best places that are in need of a particular input. Minimize your inputs while you maximize on your outputs. Plan your flights respecting your drones, or your plan where you want your traffic based on where the need exists. This is where the technology is. So it's not limited to geography students, it's not limited to anybody. As pointed out earlier, every single field is actually applying technology. It's not about how we can use it to improve how we feed ourselves. Precision agriculture optimizes inputs, as mentioned earlier. It speaks to using the right amount of water where it is needed. Instead of spraying an entire field, you spray the right amount where it is necessary. Same thing applies in terms of fertilizers. Precision agriculture also involves monitoring the status of your crops in terms of diseases, in terms of nutrient value, in terms of its growth cycle. So you know exactly when to reap and you maximize on your outputs.
With precision agriculture, farmers need to know precisely what inputs are needed where, in what amount, and when. This requires collecting a lot of information from different sources and in different parts of the field on things like soil nutrients, the presence of pests and weeds, the level of greenness of the plant, inputs applied, and the weather forecast. Once collected, this information needs to be analyzed to produce agronomic recommendations. For instance, given the developmental stage of the plant, its level of greenness may reveal its nutritional needs. This information, combined with the characteristics of the soil where the plant is located and a forecast of the weather, can be used to determine how much of a certain fertilizer should be applied to that plant the next day. Delivering agronomic recommendations on time to farmers and ensuring they are able to apply these recommendations is key. Farmers need to have all the necessary inputs at hand and be able to translate the recommendations into actions in the field. To solve this problem, big farmers use sophisticated machinery that collects georeferenced information on soil characteristics, yield, and greenness of the plants. These machines are often connected to the internet and send the information automatically to ag big data firms that analyze the information and send agronomic instructions back to the machines, which are able to automatically apply them in the field. For instance, using robotic devices attached to GPS-guided tractors. However, a number of solutions are being developed to many of the problems that medium and small-scale farmers face when trying to implement precision agriculture technologies. And there are many firms competing to provide other services such as drones, data analytics, and forecasting.
I made a reference to precision agriculture in terms of the application of drone technology and autonomous tractors. It's important to note that there are other applications. Modeling of land capability, as mentioned earlier. Modeling changes in soil characteristics to determine the best places to plant a crop. There's also modeling weather patterns. We need to know where the changes are going to take place before they do, so we can anticipate and we can plan. These things are already happening. Also, modeling sea level rise. Modeling sea level rise in a society where most of our farms, most of our settlements are in coastal locations. It's important in order to model potential disasters or also prevent potential disasters. Why we must act now? As mentioned earlier, food security is of paramount importance in terms of our ability to feed ourselves in the face of climate change. Agriculture is of significant economic value to Jamaica. Currently generates 7% of our GDP and employs approximately 16% of our labor force. We have to push towards producing more because we are actually importing less than we export. And that is actually putting a strain on our resources. Population growth, especially in urban centers, presents challenges as far as the distribution of sustainably providing food, in the face of depleted resources and high population density. Climate change is here. We have already experienced one of the warmest days in our history earlier this year. We've already seen changes in temperature. We've already seen changes in the patterns of rainfall. We must act now because the future is now. Climate change is happening. Also, the technology for us to beat this problem is also here. So we must act now. Charge is on you.
We've improved irrigation, we've engineered weather and pest-resistant plants, but still we need more radical innovations to feed the world. Enter the digital age. We've arrived at a level of technical maturity that matches farming and human needs, launching a wave of human growth. The future of farming is happening now. Big data, machine learning, smart connected equipment, the Internet of Things and autonomous technologies allow us to understand fields and crops at the macro level, and all the way down to a single row in the middle of a massive field. Farmers in the near future will operate tractors and drones from tablets as they work and collect data across their land. Cloud computing systems will collect and process this data, and then the farmers will analyze it with additional inputs from sensors in fields to predict and manage their crops' growing cycles. Farm equipment manufacturers like C&H Industrial have unveiled autonomous tractors that can work around the clock plowing, planting, harvesting, and transporting, all while gathering continuous data on soil and crop conditions. These self-driving tractors can make their own decisions, such as reacting to weather patterns and automatically moving through the field. Right now, autonomous drones do more than just take area photos. They quickly gather data on crop health, quantity, and detect stresses like parasites and fungi, or monitor livestock numbers and grazing trends. New technology comes with new anxieties, but the benefits of automation and data-driven farming impact every human. The future of farming has the potential to give everyone access to sustainable, high-quality, and cheaper food. We don't have to get caught in the enthusiast trap. We don't have to have millions or billions of dollars. But we do have to innovate today.
We have to improve production, not just for our country, but for the globe. We have to act today. It's up to you guys. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Could you give him a round of applause for him? You see, he said something. Let's start with what he closed with. There are many young people who they don't like agriculture. They don't like to do farming. But as the years go on, have you ever considered how you will eat, how you will survive? Somebody must do agriculture. Agriculture is no longer the dirty work. It involves a lot of computerization, mechanization, etc. And the reality is that as more and more people move away from agriculture into other sectors, that also creates some form of scarcity, right? That also makes us more food insecure. That is the reason why we will always buy the food that are of low quality and is essentially not the best for us. Mr. Morgan looked at precision agriculture, which is, of course, where the world is going. We in Jamaica, for the most part, still focus on traditional agriculture with kind of a blended approach with the use of technology. We have institutions to guide us, but there's a long way for us to go. And if there's a long way for us to go, it means that there's also opportunities for young minds, for brilliant young minds, to help Jamaica to do agriculture and agriculture. And I know young people like the economics of things, or the economy of things. You must earn. Agriculture has serious earning potential. How many of you guys have been down by Southern St. Elizabeth and you see all those big houses looking over the sea and on the roadside and you see the farms beside it, and these people have a simple basic way of life, but guess what? They are comfortable and they have everything to their needs. What does that tell you? And they are the ones who feed everybody else. You have that all over Jamaica. And because the population is growing, we need more lands to be put into agricultural production. In the year 2000, food security became a major issue. But the world population itself was just about touching 6 billion. So if now it's over 7 billion, you have approximately 1.7 billion people added to the same land space. Globally, we have more mouths to feed. If we look at Jamaica's population moving from approximately 2.6 to around going on to 2.9, now we have a lot more mouths to feed. And if all the Jamaicans overseas should decide that they're returning home, we're going to need lands to produce. We might not have enough, but we're also going to have much more mouths to feed. So thank you again, Mr. Morgan. Thank you, Professor Weber, for sharing the various insights on agriculture. And as we look forward into the rest of the day's proceedings, I just want to highlight to you that we have various institutions here. We have Hart, Ebony Park, who specialize in agriculture. You may want to touch base with them in terms of what they do, what programs they're planning in terms of agriculture. Cases somewhere here. Then we have our stakeholder from Hagen Trelawney looking at re-establishing their signature agricultural event, and I'm sure they have a lot to share with you. We also have other stakeholders here in terms of the FAO. You'll hear from Rada later on in terms of what their plans are. So there's a lot here in terms of agriculture. And we have the technical persons here who understand the geospatial technology and know how to use it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to enjoy the rest of the day. I believe that will be quite fulfilling. Before we close off this session, I'd like for Mr. Morgan to come and just give a token to Miss Lavinia Evans for participating in this morning's session by saying the word of prayer. Thank you. I'd like to call Ms. Sabria Shackelford. And Ms. Sabria Shackelford, she introduced the guest speaker, and Professor Weber will present a token. And to our guest speaker, Mr. Khan will also present a token to him for the message he presented to us here today, coming all the way from Portland and being very involved in agriculture. Thank you, Mr. Morgan. And I must tell you that Mr. Morgan is pretty much one of the standout students / personality who passed through the University of the West Indies. He was very, very involved, very, very good at volleyball, very good at everything, right? I know he's involved in agriculture, in teaching, in building young minds. So if you should get a one-on-one with him, I'm sure there's a lot that he will share. But he was a model student, not only sitting here, but in terms of his ethics and being able to fit all aspects of co-curricular activity in university life and his education. I still don't know how you do it, Mr. Morgan, but it was amazing. It was amazing how you did that and did that extremely well. So if you feel like you're also struggling, you know, I'm sure he provides mentorship and can guide you along that path. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here and have a wonderful day as you learn what to say for you.